All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, and fellow fishing accomplices. It is dark out, and I'm in my car right now talking to a camera by myself, so you know what that means. Good morning, and welcome back to fishing. So it is the end of May right now, Memorial Day weekend. Not Memorial Day, of course. I would likely not be going as far as I am today if it were. Yeah, we are really just going to try and go for Fluke today. That is the #1 priority for where we're going. Not to say we might not encounter other things, but really #1 priority, #1 mission for where we are going is to get some Fluke action. And I am certain we will find some. We got good conditions today. We got a fairly steady outgoing tide when we get in, not much wind, and then we're going to switch to incoming as the day continues. Really just looking to fish the morning today. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, I'm pretty confident we can put together a good bite. So we're going to find some fish. We're really just looking with gulp today, light stuff, no more than an ounce. When the tide is really moving, we're probably try and fish like 3/4 to a half an ounce most of the time possible. Bucktails, jig heads, whatever we can make work. So that is the mission, that is the goal. So stay tuned, because as always, you know what we're about to do. Get some fishing accomplished. All right, well, those birds dip pretty quick, but that's fine because I wasn't here for stripers or bluefish. We're here for Fluke. So if I'm not mistaken, we're in like the last 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours of outgoing, thereabouts, maybe 2 or 3. I'm not entirely sure. And this spot usually is my outgoing spot in this area. So let's try this and see if we can stick a Fluke or two before we venture off elsewhere. All right, 1/2 ounce Spro bucktail, 4-inch gulp grubs. Let's see if we can get the job done. Trying to mess around with the camera a little bit to get a better angle. Hopefully it works. Hopefully we don't just screw up everything. Only one way to find out. Water temp's about 62 degrees, which has been kind of a constant. Little bit of a wind versus tide situation. Not too terrible. Alright, we're on. Did not take too long. Sea robin. Sea robin. Whatever. It's still better than last week. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of you today. Back down we go. That's a bite. That's a bite. Come on. Got him. Little. Sea robin. Sea robin. Sea robin. I don't want to see robins. I want to see Fluke. Oh, no, 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 no. Simmer down now. Back down. All right, a lot of sea robins on that drift. A few hits that might have been Fluke. Very finicky. Let's try again. Slightly different trajectory. Just working this structure. This drop off, I should say. ABC robin. And you are not stealing my bait. Alright, let's switch it up. We're gonna throw a paddle shad just because I'm getting very lackluster commitment to the bucktail. See how this does. There he is. That's a Fluke. That didn't take long. Alright, well, good sign. Not a terrible fish either to start. A lot better than what we were getting last week for the most part. There he is. That gets better. That's a nice fluke. Might be net worthy. Feels net worthy. Oh yeah. That'll start it. That'll start it. He's not that big, but it's not that bad. Get a measure and we'll see how we're doing. If he's 19, I'll keep him. If not, I'll throw him back. I think he's legal, but not the kind of fish we want to necessarily get a lot of. Let's see. Yeah, it's about 18. Not quite, but nice fish. Alright, well, we just got our first, like, decent-ish fluke, an 18-incher on the paddle shad, which is a good sign. If there's 18 inches, there's definitely 18.5 inches around. Not that, again, that's any doubt in my mind, or had been, but definitely a good trend. So let's go over that drift again and see if we can get a bigger one. I could move off this spot, but I'm very confident there's some keepers here. This is like my outgoing area here. And until that tide switches to incoming, this is like one of my favorite spots in this general area. There he is. Good. Good fluke. Not a great fluke, but decent enough. Yeah, he's not that big. Felt bigger. Alright. Well, good sign though. There he is. Sea robin. Well, sundial, first of the season. Little baby. Bet a striped bass would eat this. Jeez, that looked good. That's a fluke. Could be a nice one. It's hard to say. I don't think he's that big. A lot of fish around, that's good. And my gulp is gone, so that's another one down. Another short fluke. Burning through my gulp shads. Which is a bummer, because they're working. No question. Try mixing it up after this. Try a jerk shad. See if that does the trick. Okay, so this next clip is why it's really helpful to have a fish finder. I'm just jigging my paddle shad on the bottom, trying to catch fluke like I have been. And one of my eyes is just kind of, you know, glancing at the fish finder, and all of a sudden I noticed some streaks right under the boat, and they were in the middle of the water column, so I figured they were probably either bluefish or striped bass. So what I end up doing is just basically reeling the lure back up to the boat, you know, jigging it up towards the surface in the occasion that maybe, just maybe, this fish is looking for a meal. And in this case, it absolutely was, and lo and behold. Got him. What is that? That's not a fluke, that's for sure.
jeez. Marked it mid-water column. Probably bass. Yeah. Little guy. Surprised that worked. That's one thing that's nice about these. They generally wouldn't hit a standard gulp, but they'll hit a paddle shad. And down to the last couple. Cool. Just got a nice little schoolie striped bass. I'm down to my last paddle shad, so I'm going to switch up to the jerk shad, see how this does. Light jig head, just twitch it off the bottom. Should still work. Alright, let's try the jerk shad. Ooh, yeah. That's something nice. That's something nice. That might be a really nice fluke. That might, oh yeah. Yeah, it's a big fluke. It's a big fluke on the jerk shad. This is a big fish. Big fish. Big fish. Shallow water. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, baby. It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a while. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go on the jerk shad. That's a good 5-6 pounder. Probably 5. Let's go. Let's go. That's not huge, but that's a nice fish. Get some nice fillets off that puppy. Ooh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Simmer down now. Simmer down now. Let's get him strung up. Get official measure. Let's go. In case you're wondering, in case you think I'm fudging it, easy keeper, 23, 24 maybe, 4 or 5 pounder. Yeah, almost, just about touching 24, I'm just a hair under. That fish will go close to 5 at least. All right. Let's go. Solid 24-incher. That one by itself is going to make a heck of a dinner, but let's see if we can fill the bag. Let's go. All right, well, best and worst. Just got that fluke, awesome. You know, solid, probably pushing 5 pounds. I'll get a official weigh in the parking lot, but I made the mistake of not clearing my line afterwards, and my line got caught up in the trolling motor, so had to deal with that, which is a bummer. But yeah, let's do that drift a few more times. Obviously, I knew, like I said, this spot holds serious fish during low tide, or I'm sorry, outgoing tide. Let's do that again and see if we can pick up another keeper or two. And also, of course, I've heard your requests. We are back, seltzer review. I can't think of a better way to crack back into it with a little Schweppes black cherry action. Very tasty. Also visually pleasing. I kind of like how the design almost looks like fish scales, which is more than appropriate for Fishin' Accomplished. So fully endorse this. Easy 9 out of 10. And while you're here, if you could endorse this channel with a like and a subscribe, I would very much appreciate that. Every little bit helps out the channel. So let's do that again and see if we can get another nice fish. All right, here we go again. Back down with the jerk shad. Definitely happy I brought a few of these. Bigger profile got the bigger fish. Had to lose a little line to untangle the trolling motor, but whatever. Show must go on. That's another solid fish. Another solid fish. Might be foul hook though, I don't know. Feels kind of weird. What is that? Oh, weak fish? Man, we're just catching it all today. Little baby weak fish. That's a catch. Alright, just got a little weak fish right up to the boat. Nothing too big, nothing that really matters that it got off, but another species of the list. We're at Fluke, weak fish, striped bass, sea robin, and sundial. It's 5. Get a bluefish and it's like a legitimate slam. What is this? What is this? Bluefish. Well, that's it. That's it. That's all of them. Bluefish, weak fish, fluke, sea robin. That's all the species. I mean, all it's missing really is porgies. I don't want this guy coming in, but I don't also want him to snap me off. Easy. Bluefish, so that's legitimately like an actual slam of game fish. Nothing huge on the bass and bluefish front, obviously, but we got them, so that's cool. Same thing with the weak fish, absolute tiny one, smallest one of the year. But yeah, the fluke is why we're here, and we have done decent on that front so far, so let's see how well we can finish.
At around the time I got that bluefish, the tide really started to slow down, which meant the fluke bite really started to slow down as well. I tried in this area a little longer, and I tried doing some casts and working it back to the boat with what little tide I did have, but all I was really getting was sea robins, so eventually I ended up making a move, and really other than sea robins, the only thing I'd find was bluefish, and a lot of them would just snap me off, or, you know, I'd hook into them, and they weren't very big, but as the tide finally started to move again, I started to get back into the fluke. So here's a kind of a highlight of that section of the trip.
Little. It's a fluke. Oh, it's sundial. It's a better size one. It's about as good as you can hope for here. There he is. It's a fluke, I think. Got the tide moving, so we're back on the fluke, hopefully. Not terrible. Not legal, but not terrible. Hopefully you're the first of many. Alright, just got a fluke. Tide is moving, so hopefully that means we get back on the fluke again. Try here, and if all else fails, we can go back to where we were originally. But this spot's usually really good during incoming tide, I find. So let's, yeah, try and make it happen.
Yeah, so while the bite definitely did start to pick up a little bit as the tide was moving, there were some problems. Namely, the wind started to pick up a little bit, which kind of made the drift kind of sloppy. But more importantly, there was just a ton of vegetation in the water, seaweed, whatever you want to call it. And while I could fish for maybe a couple minutes, you know, get it down there and fish for a little bit without having any issues, If I kept my line in the water for anything more than like 3 or 4 minutes, I would get weeded up pretty quickly, which would pretty much just ruin the drift. So it was really tricky to try and pick off fish in this spot, which kind of led to me not really having much luck. Definitely got a few hits, but I think it would have been much better had there not been so much vegetation in the water. But I did manage for a bit, got a few fish before I ultimately had to ponder my next move.
Ooh, yeah, that's a fluke. That's 100% a fluke. Doesn't feel terrible either. Doesn't feel terrible. We got some current, so who knows. Nah. That's close. What the heck, we'll measure them, but I don't think so. I do not think so. 17 and a half. All right, let's try this one last time. There was a lot of seaweed in the water, so it's making it hard to get an effective drift along with the wind. I did have that good hook set a couple drifts ago, so I'm gonna try this one last time. Otherwise, we'll start working our way back to launch. Hit up a few spots along the way. Should be fish here. Like, I more expect to see fish here than where I was getting them this morning. And if they're there, they should definitely be here, but it's just how it is sometimes. And part of it's just keeping the weed off the hook. There we go. That might be the one we missed. Doesn't feel bad. Gotta get him on the right side of the boat. Maybe it was worth it to go over this again. Definitely the best fluke we've hooked into in a while, unless it's foul hooked. It's not that big. Not that big. Just that current. It's nice though. Alright, pretty much full circle. Close to where we started. Tide's moving in now. It's a little weird. It's not really moving hard. We got a little bit of a wind against kind of cross tide thing going on, so biggest issue though is just there's so much junk in the water. Definitely screwing up a lot of these drifts. You know, just constant having to pick seaweed off. And yeah, the second that happens, it basically kills the drift, so hopefully it's a little better over here. But I definitely see a lot of it in the water, so not holding my breath. Yeah, see. Ooh. Yo, fluke. Little fluke, but it's a fluke. Alright, that's promising. Reassuring even. Back down. Ooh, yeah, that's a good fish. That's a good fish, yes. Feels good, I don't know. It's lightening up a little, but it feels good. Best one in a while. Oh, it's foul hook, that's why. Of course. Of course. Sorry, buddy. We just got a couple fluke pretty quickly. Nothing big, but there's some small ones nearby. There should be some larger ones too. See if we can end the last, 30 to 60 minutes on the right note. Hopefully not 60, but if it's really good, we'll stay. If it's just those two and nothing, we'll be out of here pretty soon. There he is. That's a good fish. That's a good fish. Let's go. Let's go. As long as he's not foul hooked, that is. Feels nice. Just doesn't feel right though. Well, we'll find out soon. Feels like it might be fouled. Because the head shakes don't feel. Oh, that's a nice fish. Yep. Yeah, that's a net-worthy fish. I knew we rounded out for something. Not quite as big as that first one, but it's definitely going in the bag. Going in the bag. Definitely going in the bag. And I'll tell you what I'm not gonna do is run over my line again with my trolling motor, so yeah, you can look forward to that not happening. Easy, 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 bossy boy. Another nice one. It's probably like a 21 incher thereabouts, 20, 21. Get them strung up and get them out. All right, now we're cooking. Jerk shad's doing work today, I'll tell you what. Alright, we haven't bled him yet, but there's not a doubt in my mind that this fish is over 18 and a half. And just to confirm it, it is a 21, almost 21 and a half. That's a solid fish. Heck yeah. Alright, that was a nice fluke to probably or possibly close this out, but we're going to try one or two more drifts before we officially close out, because if there's one fish like that here, there's definitely more. But let's see what we can do. This spot has just been the spot today, so if that's the way it's going to be, that's the way it's going to be. Okay, I think that's going to do it for today. Overall, pretty good day of fishing. It had its ups and downs, obviously, but they always do. Definitely my best fluke session so far this year. Kind of a finicky bite, got in kind of like at a weird tide, so we got the tail end of the outgoing, and that worked until it stopped, and then that dead low point was kind of tough, but we did get on some action. But my real go-to today was just fishing the light jig head with either the gulp paddle shad or the jerk shad. Going as light as possible really helped out, I think. I was fishing, I think, 3/8 ounce, maybe even, yeah, that's about right. And just, again, as light as I possibly could, just twitching it off the bottom and keeping it, you know, in the strike zone. I try not to fish too heavy if I don't need to, even when the tide's moving, just because I think it has a better presentation. The fish generally react better to it. And it worked. I'm gonna have to buy more paddle shads and jerk shads, but link in the description of all the main stuff I was using today. Hopefully get out on the water soon, and I'll catch you there while I do it. Thanks for watching. Catch you the next one. Goodbye from fishing.